Kelpieone here on Stainedglasscuts. The design I'm going to share today is a bit of a follow-on from one of my previous videos, how to make a copper hanging rod. For want of a better name, I'll call this one Copper Diamond. Here are all the materials I'll be using. The copper pipe, some connectors, a brass eye bolt, 2 nuts on it, some fishing swivels, some brass chain, and some copper rivets, and some wreaths that I've made, and I showed you how to make those in my previous video. I'm just finishing up cutting the last of the 12 5.5-inch lengths of 1/2-inch copper pipe. Copper pipe is easy to cut. If you want more details on how to cut it, check out my video. How to cut a copper pipe. To start, I'm going to take 2 of the 90-degree connectors and drill a 3/16-inch hole in each. I'll then drill additional 3/16-inch holes, 1 in the corner of each of the T's and 2 in the cross connector opposite each other. Now, to facilitate the drilling, when I clamp the connectors into my vise, I'll put 2 pieces of pipe, copper pipe in, secure it in the vise, take my prick punch, make a small dent, and then starting with a 1/16-inch drill bit, moving up to a 1/8, and finally the 3/16. The reason that I don't just start off with the 3/16 is that there isn't room for it to bite given the angle of these connectors. But starting with the small 1/16 and working my way up, no problem. Okay, I've got all the 3/16-inch holes drilled. I'll now take one of the 90-degree angles and taking my prick punch, I'll make a dent exactly opposite the 3/16-inch hole, and then I'll drill a 1/8-inch hole in the top. That hole will be used to attach our eye bolt hanger. All right, I'll now prepare the 1/8-inch eye bolt. As you might guess, I have a video on how I made this eye bolt. I've threaded on 2 nuts, leaving a small gap in between. This gap is roughly what the copper connector will take up when we put the eye bolt in the hole. I'll then take my diagonal pliers, cutting off the excess piece. I'll then file it down nice and smooth. Okay, this part is easier said than done. I'll put the nut inside my connector and taking my needle nose pliers, I'll try to secure it over the hole and then carefully thread the eye bolt onto the nut. And as I said, easier said than done, but it can be done. And because of the shape of the connector, the bottom nut will grab. So I'll want to tighten the nut down until it's nice and snug. And from there, I'll tighten the top nut till we have a nice firm connection. Line it up. And there we have the connector in. As the eye bolt could come loose spinning in the wind, I'll secure it inside with a bit of solder. To do this, I've hung the connector onto a swivel. I'll flux the inside and place a small piece of solder. Now, taking my propane torch, I'll heat the connector until the solder melts. This flow will keep that nut from turning inside. Time for assembly. When assembling the pieces, you want to be sure that you've got the swivels opposite so that you can connect the piece in the middle. So you'll see that in each case, when I put it together, I made sure that I had a swivel on the top and on the bottom. I've chosen rivets so there's no exposed solder around the edges of the connectors. Before riveting, I check to see that everything's square. You can get the occasional connector that allows the copper pipe to sit deeper in the connector than the others. But there's enough play that you can adjust as necessary. So, we start with a starter dent using my prick punch. Then take the 1/8 inch drill bit a rivet, and repeat for the other 23. Everything is riveted together. Time to add the hanger. I'm using a solid brass O-ring, a heavy-duty fishing swivel, and number 12 solid brass chain. And there we have it. Now for the glass. I'm using 4 wreaths, roughly 3 1/4 inches in diameter, that I showed how to make in my last video. I've installed 2 brass hangers in each one. In my first attempt at this design, I attached the glass to the copper using 2 lengths of brass chain, but only to the top of the glass. Unfortunately, in a 20-mile-an-hour wind, the glass banged against the copper and was going to break for sure. So I added a bottom attachment of 3 lengths, but still have some pieces that can hit the sides. So I've gone to making my connection pieces from brass rod. If you'd like to see more detail on how to bend loops into metal rods, check out my video. This allowed me to make the exact lengths that I needed to keep the glass from hitting the copper. And there we have it. Let's get it outside. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please consider liking and subscribing. Thanks for watching. Cheers.